Aloha and ni hao, should I say. It's great to be home after 9 days of nonstop meetings. You know, the DBED people are slave drivers, just to let you know. Um, it was a remarkable opportunity to promote economic exchange on renewable energy, international student exchanges, and business with Okinawa Prefecture and Guangdong Province. As you know, the, one of the main purposes of the trip was to celebrate the 30th anniversary of sister state province relationships with Okinawa and Guangdong Province. And it was, I think, a terrific opportunity for the state of Hawaii and the people of Hawaii. I think many times we here in Hawaii take for granted the long-standing relationships we have with these countries, and I don't know if you went back and looked at other states, but I clearly know. And when I meet with the government officials from Okinawa and Japan, they are clearly aware of the long-standing relationship between Hawaii and Okinawa and Guangdong province. And it's just a privilege for me to be part of that legacy, to be able to build on those who came before me in establishing the relationships and what they mean in today's environment. You know, we do talk about the rebalance, and the President of the United States talks about the rebalance to Asia Pacific. And it's very clear in our meetings at the sub-regional level that Hawaii is viewed very differently than other states. And really, Hawaii is viewed as a gateway to strengthen the Japan-US relationship as well as the US-China relationship. Um, as you know, when I travel on these missions, I do stress, especially at the province level, how special the relationship is between Hawaii and Okinawa and Guangdong. Part of my itinerary included sister state celebrations and the governments of Okinawa and Guangdong were very gracious in the ceremonies and the banquets provided. There were some very moving times for me personally as the first governor of Okinawan descent, visiting the Okinawa Peace Memorial, which memorializes and commits to peace on a going forward basis, especially when more than 270 people, Okinawan and Americans, perished in the war, in the Battle of Okinawa. And the memorial just reminds us about the toll and the commitment required. Um, and more importantly, I think it reconfirms the world's commitment to find peace as we move forward. Um, and I was reminded on several occasions that Hawaii and Okinawan Americans in Hawaii had a significant part in the rebuilding of Okinawa right after the war, where Okinawan Americans from Hawaii organized because they knew of the devastation in Okinawa, organized to collect 550 pigs and really be part of that first rebuilding effort in Okinawa that really started. And the people of Okinawa never forgot that. And it was a privilege for me to be able to represent all of Hawaii in their reminding of that, and more importantly, the commitment to move forward in a way that is meaningful for both Okinawa and Hawaii. I did again meet with Governor Onaga of Okinawa for the third time this year to talk about ways that we can both support each other, renewed our collaboration on renewable energy development. We hosted a seminar, um, and then to really focus on student exchanges and how I think both um, the government of Okinawa, as well as I personally see the value in international student exchanges. And really, it's part of our efforts for mutual understanding and world peace. But it is extremely valuable to the students who are involved um, in that exchange. Uh, I was able to meet a niece of mine in Okinawa who happened to have studied at the University of Hawaii on a international student exchange. And she now works for a company that facilitates international student exchanges in Okinawa. And part of her role is to help international students get settled and supported in their efforts to be an exchange student in Okinawa. So, I truly believe in the value of international student exchanges. It also will help us in the economic perspective in the sense that if we can get students from Okinawa, Japan, China to visit as students, then they are more likely to return as adults or more likely to move and immigrate and contribute to our economy as well. So I think that that really is an opportunity that both Okinawa and Hawaii see value to. I did have the privilege of meeting with U.S. Ambassador Carolyn Kennedy to talk about the U.S.-Japan relationships. We did, and I personally talked with her about our longstanding sister state province programs and shared with her our rich history of cultural education and business exchanges. So she had a better idea. She personally was aware of the long-standing relationship that Hawaii has with Okinawa, and she certainly views that as an asset to the country. Um, so that was it was a very good exchange of information, and clearly, while there we did meet with the U.S. consulate offices both in um, Okinawa and Guangdong province, and further strengthen that relationship that we would have with the consul generals, because they definitely can assist and are committed to improving international student exchanges. Um, it was also an opportunity to visit and meet with businesses in Okinawa that is involved with the electric utility. I had the opportunity to tour and meet with executives of Okinawa Power and Electric Company, who is the electric utility in Okinawa. And we had a good exchange about how they view renewable energy and the things that they are working on to increase the penetration of renewables on their network, and then also talking about smart grid upgrades and improving the performance of the electric utility grids and accepting renewable energy. Also had the opportunity to meet with J Power, which is a provider, a distribution or a power generation company in Okinawa. They operate a generating coal LNG facility, and they also have constructed a seawater pump storage facility, which may have some application here in Hawaii. Storage is the critical key to 100% renewable by 2045, and we definitely need to solve that as we get closer to 100% renewable. Um, on a personal note, I did have an opportunity to meet more than 30 family members in Okinawa on Sunday, and they became aware of my running for governor and being elected for governor. And that was really something special for myself personally. I also became aware that several family members perished in the Battle of Okinawa as well. Um, we talked a lot about student exchanges on this trip and Okinawa student exchanges. And I think that they are many opportunities that we will be moving on and as a way to further expand the international student exchanges with both students coming here from Okinawa and China, as well as students from Hawaii going to study there. Moving to China, this was my first trip to China. Um, we stayed in Guangdong province, again, looking at the same elements of um, um, business opportunities, talking about renewable energy and international student exchanges. I had the honor of and privilege of meeting with the mayor of Zhongshan city, um, and also had the opportunity to meet with Governor Zhu of Guangdong province, just to try to provide some comparison. The population of Zhongshan city is about 3.1 million. The population of Guangdong province is 106 million. So clearly, the provinces and cities in China are significantly larger than what they are here. Um, we did have the opportunity to tour and visit Sun Yat-sen Middle and High School. Um, as you may be aware, and the people of China are definitely aware, uh, Dr. Sun Yat-sen studied in Hawaii, attended Iolani and Punahou School, Oahu College, I guess as it was noted there, and he is the father of modern China. And clearly, it does demonstrate a long time relationship between Guangdong province and Hawaii in a way that I think both China and Hawaii recognizes. And we did talk a lot about what changes, and I talked a lot about the fact that um, Hawaii has been um, the place where two presidents, President Barack Obama and Premier Sun Yat-sen, have spent their formative years. And one of the reasons I truly believe in international student exchanges and what I challenged the government officials is to really look for that opportunity for the next Barack Obama or Dr. or Sun Yat-sen amongst our young people, because I truly believe that the future of world peace lies in our students and the interactions that they will have as students. In China, we did announce the partnership with Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, GZL International Travel, Guangdong Nanhu International Travel, and Guangdong China Travel Service, our tour service partners in China, about a joint promotion of Enjoy Hawaii. They will be promoting to their customers the notion of traveling to Hawaii. This is one part of our joint efforts with Hawaii Tourism China to increase the number of visitors from China to Hawaii. So that really does seem like a great partnership and opportunity. I do know that joint promotions in Japan has been very successful in getting more visitors here, and I expect that we should see increased travelers from China coming to Hawaii as a result of this partnership. And then on a final note, I did have the opportunity to meet and talk with Governor Zhu in Guangdong province about different things that we can work jointly together. One of the things that I think we both recognize in terms of getting more visitors from China to Hawaii is having direct flights from South China into Hawaii. And that clearly is an interest of Governor Zhu, and it is a personal interest of mine. And so we have committed to look at how we can work together to promote direct flights from South China into Hawaii, because we do know that we need to have increased access from China to receive more guests and visitors, and direct flights is the best opportunity. And so I think that's all that I have to say. I mean, I'd be more than happy to answer any specific questions, or I know that there may have been an issue or two that came up while I was gone. But,
Relative to Japan or China, Governor, the economic situation doesn't look too good in China. Will that impact on the tourist industry?
well, I mean, I do know, and we do know in the global economy that we live in, what happens in China and Japan will impact what happens here in Hawaii. But as we saw in Japan when the yen decreased or the dollar strengthened, however you want to view it, Hawaii still maintained its visitor traffic from Japan, even while outbound travel to other countries fell significantly. So, it's very interesting talking with the officials from Guangdong province, for example. If you look at the growth of Guangdong province, they've averaged in the last decade, more than 7% growth year over year in gross domestic product of Guangdong province. And, in Hawaii in last year, our GDP growth was about 3%. So when they say that they see a downturn, it's still significant growth from our perspective. So, I mean, I do know, Guangdong province is in southern China, has been one of those that have been most progressive in adopting the economic reforms and incorporating Western business practices and others. And so definitely the officials from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs were aware of the fact that they see economic downturn in China. I think that they were still pretty upbeat about what the prospects of increased traffic and exchange between Hawaii and China would be.
Governor, do you still oppose the next era purchase of AGI?
Yes, I know that we had submitted our testimony in that docket, and based on the exchange of information to this point, I still oppose the merger.
And why did the state PUC cut the solar incentive program?
I am not aware. You might want to talk with Chair Iwase.
Do you approve of the decision?
I haven't had a chance to review the decision, so I will be looking at it. But clearly, I don't dictate what the agency should or should not be doing. So clearly, it's a decision by the Public Utilities Commission.
Governor, you said you did energy site visits in Okinawa. Is there one thing or some things that you observed that we can apply here that next era of HECO can do to do better?
Well, I do think a couple of things that became evident. Hawaii is very far ahead of the game compared to Okinawa Electric and Power. So, as I had the privilege to represent Hawaii in Washington at the Washington Post function, as I visit Okinawa, there is no other utility or grid that is as advanced as we are in terms of the percentage of renewable energy in their networks. So it was very interesting to see the different approaches. They're very mathematical. I mean, I met with the engineers and the professors. They calculate explicitly what they believe to be the maximum penetration of renewables in their network that they can incorporate safely. And it's less than 10%. So, if they clearly, I can see that they are comfortable in what they're doing. They have a real diverse portfolio of energy sources. Most of it are fossil fuels, but they have coal, they burn coal, they burn LNG, they burn diesel oil. So they have a much broader portfolio of fuel sources, but it's very different. So I think the most important thing is that there's a commitment to working together. Both the US government and the Japanese government have invested in the partnership between Okinawa and Hawaii. And we have a number of joint projects that are looking at smart grid investments and upgrading the utility grids, as well as how to manage the renewables and the varying output from renewable sources.
Meeting with J-Power, have you changed your stance on LNG?
I beg your pardon?
Meeting with J-Power in Japan, have you changed your stance on LNG?
Not really. I mean, it's independent. We did not talk at all about LNG. So, although, Japan has been using LNG for a long time. So, I mean, my position on LNG is the same as it always has been. I am committed to 100% renewable. I'm seeking flexibility from the regulatory agencies so that we can manage how we make investments in generation. And I believe that all of our investments should be focused on 100% renewable.
But the density as far as population in Naha, for example, in Okinawa, is much more than Honolulu. So, and their land mass is much less. Any parallels between those two isolated communities?
Well, there are actually a lot of parallels. If you look at the Okinawan electric grid, for example, it's almost exactly the same size as it is here in Honolulu. They have more generating facilities. Their facilities, the older ones are smaller. The newer ones are significantly larger than the generating facilities that we have here in Hawaii. So I think it's a very different situation in the sense that their investments really are focused on big fossil fuel generators. And so for them to migrate and move off of that would take a significant commitment on their part.
Is that because the military is a big consumer, or?
No, that didn't come up at all in the conversation.
Roger.
Oh, yeah, this is just off the trip you took, but I wanted to get an update on the homeless in Kaka'ako. What's the next step
Sure.
as far as, where they're gonna go? And I was just there, a lot of them are just kind of
So what was your impression in Kaka'ako? To the situation? I mean, clearly from a month ago to what it is today.
There are a lot of birds there.
Birds.
No, I talked to some people there that were part of the suite, and they just moved to this kind of the other parts of the park. And I don't know, is there a?
Well, we are committed to continuing our efforts to place homeless people in a more permanent situation. We were successful in placing more than 150, so more than half of the people in Kaka'ako who were homeless have been placed in shelters now, moving forward. And so obviously we would like to get to 100%, but some people choose not to. We are working with HCDA to look at some of the homeless have moved to the parks. And so we continue to look at and work with our service providers. Again, the model is the same, that we want to inform them of the opportunity to move into an emergency shelter. We're working with the service providers to get them into a permanent housing situation. We will be working with HCDA and the other state agencies involved. With some of them have moved into the waterfront and Kewalo Park. And so we'll be coordinating with the city in terms of whether we can get some joint efforts to enforce. And then again, the objective is really to give them the opportunity to move into shelter.
Will there be any immediate enforcement?
We're working with the HCDA and the enforcement agencies. We still have space in the shelters. We know that we need to get more space, and we're working on that as well. But we still have space in our shelters to take more of the homeless.
Governor, how many beds are currently vacant in the temporary shelter?
I beg your pardon?
How many beds are currently vacant, or how many slots are?
Well, I can tell you that the number changes every day. We can give you an update from Scott. I don't have the specific numbers, but we are in contact with the service providers every day, so we know what the number is. I just don't have it on me.
Do they have the same problem in Okinawa and Japan?
I did not see any homeless in Okinawa specifically. On my last trip to Tokyo, I did see homeless in Tokyo. So I do think that homelessness is a pretty universal challenge everywhere.
Governor, is there any update on the inspection reports that the health department is supposed to be posting online of healthcare facilities?
No, I know that we're working on it. We did have an issue with staff supporting that activity. And so I know that there has been a setback. I don't have a new date of when that would be available. We definitely can get that to you.
And is there a reason why they're not being posted online? Do
We
they not
can-
have the resources?
We can get that information for you.
Governor, any timeline on this international student exchanges?
We will be, I know the First Lady will be convening the participants. There were a number of organizations that were part of the delegation. We are, getting and understanding what the different schools are doing and what we might be able to do going forward. We had a very good dialogue with the Council Generals in both Okinawa and Guangdong province about what support and what efforts they're making. In Japan, it's very clear that the ambassador and the Councils General are really committed to President Obama and Prime Minister Abe's goal of doubling the student exchanges between our countries by 2020. And so clearly that's a target I think that all of us will be working toward. We had identified key resources in Japan and China that will help us in that.
Could you elaborate a little bit more on the promotional exchanges that you discussed in China?
Sure.
Just more specifics about how.
I think it's a couple of things, and clearly, and that's one of the reasons why Governor Zhu had agreed when we had met. We do know that access is the first step. We need to increase access of flights between China and Hawaii in order to increase the numbers. Last year, there were 160,000 visitors from China who came to Hawaii, and that really is limited by the number of flights that we have. And so we definitely are committed to working together to see if we can get both China Airlines as well as American Airlines to establish routes into South China. So I think that's the first. The second, the announcement on the joint project really was looking at Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, really working within their customers in China and helping us, and they'll be distributing marketing promotions about Enjoy Hawaii and sending to their customers and promoting. And then the other partners in the partnership are the travel bureaus in China. So they'll be working to coordinate and build tour packages and other kinds of services to support increasing the number of visitors. So the China partners are GZL International Travel, Guangdong Nanhu International Travel, and China Travel Service. And so they'll be working, and like I said, I think part of the challenge is increasing access.
And how do the Chinese travel numbers compare to those of Japan?
Yes, so last year there were 1.5 million visitors from Japan. And last year we had 160,000 visitors from China. So clearly, there is more infrastructure, and we get more visitors from Japan than we do from China today. So I think the sense that I got from all of the partners in China was that they felt very confident that we could increase the numbers. That, like I said, the challenge at this point really is about access, about increasing the seats that we have between China and Hawaii. And on this trip specifically, because I was in South China, we were really focused on seeing if we could work to increase the flights from South China. So
Anybody else? All
any other
set?
questions?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.